People have on average about 80,000 thoughts every day. And that's just the average person. Some people have upwards of 100,000 thoughts every day. So in this video, I'm going to give you 3 tips how to stop overthinking. So let's jump right in. So tip number 1 is you have to be aware of your thoughts. If you're on autopilot, which most of us are, then you're not going to be able to catch yourself. I like to say that we get hijacked by our stinking thinking. Most of us are living either in the past, where we're ruminating about what we wish we had done differently, said differently. Why didn't I do that? Think of that. Or I can't believe I did that. Or we're living in the future. What am I going to do? How is this going to go? Right? And so when we're in the past or the future, we're not in the present moment. And it's only there that you can actually catch your thoughts. So you've got to be aware of your thoughts. If they're on autopilot, you're not going to catch them. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is to build that mindfulness muscle. So remember, if you've got upwards of 80,000 thoughts a day, and for highly sensitive people, we've got even more than that, 100,000 plus. If you aren't aware of them and building that mindfulness muscle, then they're going to escape you, because when you're in the present moment, and remember, mindfulness is present moment awareness. You want to get an anchor into the present moment. You can use little tricks like every time you repeat or do something multiple times a day, you train your brain and your body to get into your body, get into that present moment. So let's say you drive a lot. Every time you stick the keys in the ignition, okay, I feel my hands, I feel my feet. I'm going to take a breath, notice it. Where do I feel it in my body? Or I used to use every time I went to the bathroom. Okay, you go walk into the bathroom. It's a cue. It trains your brain and your body. Feel my feet, feel my hands, take a breath. Where do I feel that? I'd love to know in the comment section if you have a particular tip or tool for when you notice that you've been hijacked. Another tip actually is to get a hijack buddy. A trusted friend or a loved one that you can say, listen, I know I tend to get hijacked by my thoughts. If you could just help me remember, if you see me going down the rabbit hole, that I'm probably in my head, that can be really helpful. Because sometimes we forget, we don't even realize that we've gone down the rabbit hole. So if you find this content helpful, hit the like button and consider subscribing. Okay, and tip number 3 is to balance that story in your head of worst case scenario and best case scenario. So if you actually are aware of your stinking thinking, or even just your loops that you go into, because most of our thoughts are the same thoughts that we had the day before, you'll notice that we tend to go to either worst case scenario or it has an overall negative connotation. We're not just usually thinking about, oh, I did this so great, this is going to be amazing. It's usually worst case scenario. So you could start balancing that with thinking the best case scenario. Okay, so those are your 3 tips for how to stop overthinking, especially beneficial for highly sensitive people. And so remember, when you understand your sensitivity, you too can claim it as your greatest asset.